Hey everyone, and welcome to lesson 5 of our beginner guitar course. Today we're actually going to learn the next 2 chords in the key of C, and this will help us to have 4 chords, the most essential chords in my opinion, in the key of C, because it's going to open up so many songs that you can play with those 4 chords. So last time we actually learned the C chord and the F chord, and if you want to learn those in detail, then you can check out that last lesson. But today I'm going to just show you those ones briefly again, and then jump into our next 2 chords. So our C chord, if you remember, is played like this. Our index finger is on the 1st fret of the B string, our middle finger is the 2nd fret of the D string, and our ring finger is the 3rd fret of the A string. And it sounds like this. And our F chord takes that same shape, and it just moves our middle finger 1 string lighter, and our ring finger 1 string lighter as well. And here is our F chord. Okay, so those are the 2 chords we learned last time. We're halfway there already. Let's learn our other 2 chords now. So we will learn our A minor chord. And our A minor chord is started off the same way as the other ones, where we hold that 1st fret of our B string with our index finger. Then we take our middle finger and put it on the 2nd fret of the D string. So this is the same way we start off with our C, except we're now going to take our ring finger and we're going to put it on the 2nd fret of our G string. So these fingers are side by side. And this may be a bit of a hard shape for you to play because your fingers are so close together. But if we're remembering from last time, we're coming down over top of the strings with our fingertips, making sure we don't touch the strings around it. That's going to help us out a lot in making sure we keep that clarity to our chord. So it should sound like this. And that is our A minor chord. This may take a bit of time to get used to, especially in this shape with these 2 fingers really close together. So as always, take your time with it. Make sure you're getting that chord as clear as possible. But after you get that, you can learn your G chord. Now there's a few different ways to actually play this as far as your fingering of the shape of this chord. So I'm going to show you the traditional way first, and just the way that some people play it. And then I'm going to show you a bit of a modification to it to make it easier to play in the key of C. So if you take your pinky finger and hold this 3rd fret of the high E string, then you take your index finger and put it on the 2nd fret of your A string, and then your middle finger goes on the 3rd fret of the E string. So now you have your pinky finger on the 3rd fret of the high E string and your middle finger on the 3rd fret of the low E string. Both of those are G notes, as I'm sure you know. And then you've got your 2nd fret of the A string with your index finger. It sounds like this. And that is your G chord. Now some people do hold this chord with the ring finger on this 3rd fret of the high E string instead of your pinky finger, just because it's a bit easier to hold down strings with your ring finger than your pinky. But I actually find this shape, to hold your hand like this, is a little less comfortable than with the pinky finger, and it's harder to get to when you're playing between different chords than holding with the pinky. So I would say if you're going to play the shape this way, try and get used to playing with your pinky on that high E string instead of your ring finger. But the other way to play this chord, which I think works better in the key of C, is to actually start with your pinky in the same spot, that 3rd fret of the high E string, and then instead of using your index finger, we're going to switch over to our middle and ring finger. Our middle finger is going to go on the 2nd fret of the A string, and our ring finger is going to go on the 3rd fret of the E string. And that's how we're going to play that G chord. Now you may be asking, why change it this way? Because now we're not using our dominant finger, which is usually our index. We're using our other 3 fingers, especially using both of our 2 weaker fingers. And the reason to do this is because I think it's a much easier shape to get to in the key of C. It's going to help you out a lot, and I'll demonstrate that for you. So if I'm playing this traditional way of the G chord, and I'm actually playing in the key of C, I'll show you if I go F, C, and then to that G what it looks like. And try and watch how much my hand is moving to get to that shape. So here's our F chord, then our C chord, now we're going to the G chord. So you can see my whole hand is coming all the way across here to get to that G shape. Alright, now I'm going to show you with a bit of that modification where we're using our middle ring and pinky finger instead to play that G chord. Okay, so watch it here again. If we start with that F chord, then to the C, and watch how much my hand moves here to a G. You see how little that movement is? So compared to the traditional way of holding it, I think this actually makes it a lot easier in the key of C to get to that G chord. So you can play it either way, they both work, but I think if you can learn it this way, it actually is going to make that much easier for you as you're playing in the key of C to get to that G shape. Again, completely up to you, whatever you're more comfortable with, but in this case, I would say if you can, try and work on that G shape with the index finger out instead of the ring finger. Okay, so those are the 4 chords. Now we've got our G, our F, our A minor, and our G. We can now start working on playing a song. And last time we used a song to work on those first 2 chords, and I've got another one for you today. This one is called Country Roads by John Denver. You're probably familiar with it, but these 4 chords are going to let us play that song, right? So we're going to jump into that song. But just before we do, I want to talk about strumming briefly. And what we've been doing so far is just down strums. So if I got my C chord over here, we've just been strumming down, right? And that's great, it works. There's no problem with that. However, by adding this one small little bit of change to it, we're going to make our strumming sound a whole lot better. And all we're going to do is just before we change from one chord to the next, we're going to add a little up strum into our strumming. So if I'm moving just between the C chord and the F chord, let's say I give them each a bar, and we're in 4/4 time, so it's 4 beats per bar. And every time we're going to switch between those 2 chords, I'm going to add a little up strum at the end. So it'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, up strum. 2, 3, 4, up strum. 1, 2, 4, up strum. Okay, and I'll show you that close. So here we go on our C. 1, 2, 3, 4, up strum. Up strum. Okay, that's it. It's not super complicated. It may again take a bit of getting used to that coordination of getting that up strum in there, but it makes our strumming sound so much better just to have that one little difference in our strumming as we're switching between chords. So, down strums are fine. If that's where you're at right now, and it's just taking a lot to get to that point with just the down strums, just focus on down strums. That's totally fine. But if you're looking for a bit of that challenge and you're looking to make your strumming just have a little bit more of that interest to it, then try to incorporate that up strum just before you switch to the next chord. Okay? So let's jump into this song, Country Roads. It starts off with a C chord. And this song is 4/4 time. And most of our chords are 1 bar long, so they each take up 4 beats. And I'll let you know the chords that change from that pattern, but for the most part, each of them gets a bar. So our first chord, our C chord, is a full bar. Then we go to our next chord, which is our A minor. Then our G. And then here, this next bar is actually split. So you have 2 beats of F and 2 beats of C. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you this up close so you get an idea of what it looks like. But here we go. So again, it goes C, A minor, G, and then a split bar of F and C, 2 beats each. Okay? So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, A minor, G, here's the split, F, 2, C, 2. Okay? So that's the first part of the song. That's the first half of our verse. And then there's the second half of the verse, which is the exact same. Okay, the only thing that you have to consider is they add 2 beats of our C chord before the second half of the verse. So, if I play this whole thing together, I'm going to try and count it out for you. I'll try and add those up strums in as well so we get an idea, and then you can see how this whole thing goes. So, right from the top, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, switch. G. Here's your half bar. 1, 2, C into the next part. Switch. Here's another half bar. 1, 2 of F and 2 of C. Okay, that's the whole verse. Now I'm going to sing along with this so you have an idea. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to start incorporating our metronome into this as well. So for right now, just to keep it nice and simple for us, we're actually going to set this at 50 beats per minute. Okay, that means that it's going to click or make a ticking sound 50 times every 60 seconds. And that's going to help us to both stay in time, but it's also going to help us realize how fast we can make those chord changes happen. So we're just going to go through the verse again with our metronome on, so you'll hear it ticking like this. We'll keep it nice and slow. And I'll add the words in as well, just so we have an idea of the whole song, okay? So here's our verse of Country Roads. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. 1, 2. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Okay? So that's 50 beats per minute. We got through that verse. That's great. Now we're going to move on to our chorus. Okay? This is the part everyone knows. Country roads, take me home, right? And this part is played a little bit differently than the verse, but it's still using those same 4 chords that we've already learned. So it starts off with our C chord, and again, full bar. Then it switches to a G chord, full bar. Then our A minor. Then our F. Okay, that's the first half of the chorus, full bars on every chord, and again, just the same 4 chords that we've already learned. C, G, A minor, F. The second half changes a little bit. It starts off the same way, C to a G, but then it goes F to C. Full bars on everything, okay? So let's do that second half. To a G. Here comes the F. And a C. Okay, and that's the chorus. So let's try this chorus portion with our metronome again, set to 50 beats per minute. Here we go. C to a G. A minor. And F. Okay? Pretty simple, right? I hope so, at least. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this whole song, first verse and chorus, and we're just going to play this together so that we have a good idea of how this whole song goes. I'm going to sing along with it. I'll leave the metronome going. I'm going to actually move this just a slight bit faster, 54 beats per minute, okay? And that is going to help us just to continue to push ourselves, see if we're able to play at that tempo. So here we go. From the top. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Chorus. Country roads take me home to a place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads. Alright, that's the whole song. So I would take some time with that, really work on it, go back and watch this again if you need the chords or just any information about playing the chords. Try and play with a metronome if you can. That's going to help you out a lot, not only to get that good timing dialed in, but it's also going to help you to know how quickly you're able to switch between those chords. Because right now, playing it at 50 beats per minute or 54 beats per minute may be challenging. It may actually be impossible. You may need to set this even slower to 40 beats per minute or something and try there. And that's okay. Because right now what you're doing is you're figuring out how fast you can make those transitions, what you're currently capable of playing. And then as you get comfortable with it at that tempo, you can then push this a little bit faster, right? So if you're at 40 beats per minute right now, you can push it to, 42, 44, 46, whatever it is that you need to. And you can actually just look up a metronome on your computer or on your phone, just like Google search metronome, and you can find one. But it's going to help you to understand how much comfort you have of playing those chords and how quickly you can get from one to the next. And that's going to let you know your progress through using a metronome. Because right now, again, you may be playing it at 50 beats per minute, and that's the maximum you can do. But in a month from now, as you practice, you may be at 60 beats per minute or 80 beats per minute. And you've been able to push yourself faster and faster, making sure that you're getting those chord transitions quickly and smoothly. And you can see that you've had that progress over that period of time. So this is going to help you out a lot in being able to see how your growth is going for playing those chords. The other thing you may have noticed is maybe that's not the best key for me to sing this in, right? It's a bit high, and I agree with you, it is. And that's why we have to look at keys. Right now we've been playing in the key of C, and those are the chords that we've learned. But we're going to be looking in the future into how keys actually affect where we sing a song. And that's going to become clearer to us at that point in time. So you may be playing a song in the key of C and you're like, this doesn't sound good for me to sing in. And that's okay for right now because those are the chords that you know. But as we continue to work on this together, you're going to learn new chords and new methods and being able to play songs in different keys to be able to make it more comfortable for you or someone that you're playing with to sing along. So I hope that was helpful for you today. I hope this was just a big step in your own growth as a guitar player, and that this has been really beneficial for you. So I hope you enjoyed this, that this is a song that you're going to have some good fun with. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to write them in for me, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, love you guys.